The federal government says it has a plan to make Canada's electricity grid cleaner with the goal that it will be carbon neutral by 2035.
If the government is planning to make the grid greener and achieve net zero by 2035, what does that mean for you as homeowners? We might think this is for government, parastatals, oil and gas companies, and very distant organizations. However, as you can see in the picture, the breakdown of Canada's greenhouse emission by economic sector shows that buildings emit 13% of the greenhouse gases and transportations account for 22% of the greenhouse emission. On the other hand, waste and others account for 7.1%. If the government is rolling out new regulations and 42.1% of it is going to be directly impacting us as homeowners, then we better not look at oil and gas. The oil and gas only accounts for 31% of this emission, because whenever we hear this, we think it's all those big organizations. Welcome to my channel. In this video, we'll be discussing Canada's plans to achieve net zero by 2035.
Yeah, put very simply, what the government is trying to do is to institute regulations that will help provinces and territories meet that net zero 2035 target for electricity. So it's an ambitious goal. They want to make sure that our electricity grid is non-emitting. There are virtually no emissions.
As you can hear in that clip, homeowners are going to be bearing the biggest portion of this burn, because as you can see in the screen, 13% of the emissions from buildings are from energy used for lighting, ventilation, heating and cooling. This regulation is going to have a massive impact on us, because many of us need the energy to keep our lights on, to keep our house warm in winter, keep our house cool in summer, and as well warm cozy baths and all of that. This regulation is going to directly impact us. As homeowners, we need to start seeing ourselves in this and not think that this is something for the government to figure out alone.
And so there has been concern, especially from those prairie provinces, that these regulations might force them to phase out fossil fuels from their power generation.
As homeowners, should we be concerned as well? Yes, I'm concerned, because if the energy producers have to green their grid faster, guess who is going to pay a large chunk of this? It's going to come back to us in direct fees, increase in utility bills, and extra taxes.
Those rigorous standards will require those power plants to emit a certain amount of carbon dioxide, and if they do, there will be penalties and some sort of repercussions we're hearing from officials if they exceed those annual emissions limits.
When organizations pay penalties and repercussions, indirectly it's still coming back to homeowners. Organizations shouldn't be the only one worried about these penalties and fees for all this carbon capture and this new technology. We are going to have to pay more in utility if the energy generators still have to use fossil fuel to power our grid. We all rely on grid. How about we start working on ways to protect ourselves? Governments and other organizations have about 10 plus years to plan. If we as homeowners just think that this is not relevant to us and we don't plan or do anything to start making sure that we are not relying so much on the grid and reducing our consumption, this is going to be a shock to us. So this begs the question, as homeowners, what are we going to do about this? The first thing we should do about it is retrofit. If you're an existing homeowner and your house is not as energy efficient, this is the time to start researching home energy retrofits to install. The cost of this retrofit might go up as the demand is going to soar closer to when these regulations are going to come into place. Home retrofit like hair sealing, improving your insulation, garage insulation, installing thermostat, upgrading your windows to triple glazing, and other types of energy saving upgrade. There's a lot of resources available. The government is issuing grants, the government is issuing loans. This is the time to do this and save yourself some cost. As we speak now, the cost of electricity, the cost of gas has been going up. And with this news we've been listening to now, it shows that the cost of this is not going to slow down anytime soon. So if you are able to get a retrofit, then now is the time to get started. If you are an homeowner that you're planning to move or you're planning to build a new house, focusing on greener buildings and energy efficiency features is important to add to your list when house hunting. It's not only the beautiful kitchen and the countertops you have to look out for. You have to look out for the energy rating of the house and how well positioned are these houses to be able to comply with the net zero target that is coming down the line. You have to remember, a house you buy now this year, in another 10 years time, you might still have mortgage if you have taken a 15-year or longer term loan. And if the house is already obsolete because it needs a lot of upgrade, then it's better you make the choice if you are in that position to buy now, or you factor in the cost of adding retrofit if you buy a used house. If you're in the process of buying a new house, you can watch my video on home elevation choices and how it will affect your house and its energy efficient features in the future. Like the type of home elevation, to have enough space for solar panels, which part of your roof faces the south, and all those kind of good points are what you should consider in addition to your square foot and all of that. It is also important that new houses come solar roofed in, because that is the way to go in this generation. If you are still trying to decide whether to go solar, you can watch my video that answers many of the common questions that people have when they are trying to decide whether to adopt solar or not. The ventilation system is also critical. Any house you are building or moving into has to have an efficient heating and cooling system. Preferably if you have a heat pump, that will save you a ton of money going forward, especially if your ventilation system is also zoned. All this in addition to LED lighting and ENERGY Star rated appliances only. Whatever appliance you will be buying brand new, you have to make sure that in addition to you looking at the color and the function and other things that are important, you have to look at the energy consumption, that you buy efficient system, because this will mean a lot down the line as you start paying utility bills in the house. As we've all been hearing this news from the federal level to the provincial level to the municipality, if you have any thoughts or comments on how you think as homeowners we should prepare and plan for this new regulation, please feel free to leave it in the comment section and we can all discuss. Looking forward to seeing you in my next video. Goodbye.